Okay. Okay.
It's a great day to play. Great day to play. Great day to play. Great day to play.
It's a great day to play, everybody! Welcome on into the channel. Yeah. Whether it's your first time here or you are rejoining us, thank you for being here with us today. You are loved, appreciated, always welcome here in this channel. You are enough. Oh, we're back, everybody. I know if you are a consistent watcher of the channel, you've probably been noticing for like the last 8-9 days-ish that there hasn't really been any content. I went off to LA, and while my intention was to still be putting out content while I was in LA, practice versus what actually happens, or theory versus practice, is never really a thing. So I wasn't able to get a lot of content done out there, but I was able to make a lot of great memories. I had an amazing time. A Korean couple that we had met when we were in Las Vegas invited me to come out and stay with them while I was out there, and it was amazing, kind of immersing myself in it and kind of just seeing the daily lives and just the culture and everything like that. And it was just amazing. And so I just wanted to, once I got there, I just wanted to pay attention and immerse myself. If you guys want to find out more about that, I'm sure we're going to be talking about that this weekend, Saturday on our live streams over on Twitch. So make sure to follow over on Twitch and we'll kind of talk about it. But then I got back, and I didn't get back until late Friday night, and Arson was coming out, but I wasn't feeling very well. And then I had this thing happen with my saliva glands, and my face blew up. And so I couldn't really record a video because my face looked like a balloon on this side. So I couldn't record a video. So I have been patiently waiting, staying off social media, trying to make sure that I didn't see any spoilers from this. And luckily I have been able to do so far. So we're gonna be doing Arson today. I do know at this point that there's already been a making of video. So we're gonna go through, we're gonna watch this, we're gonna react to it, and that'll come out beginning of the week, sometime tonight, tomorrow, whatever. It should be out around Monday-ish, though. And then I will, right after that, probably be doing the making of, and that'll probably come up the next day. So stay tuned for that. I know there's going to be probably a bunch of people in the comments like, do the making of, doing it. So we already got it. But let's go through this. We'll probably do this like we do all of them for the first time. We're just going to kind of go through it. I want to let the whole thing play. I'm going to take some notes as it goes along, and then we'll go through, we'll do a little breakdown of it. So super excited. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you already haven't. Right? Why haven't you? If you already haven't, make sure following us along on all of our places where things exist, Music Out, and BTS exclusive content, Patreon, and YouTube members. But let's go. Bow, bow, bow. Bow, 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 bow. Okay. Huh.
Let's burn. It's done. Let's burn. 내 열정에 burn. 내 영혼에 burn. 내 삶 속을 burn. Every day I run. 멈출 수 없던 그때 그 시절. I'm burning low and now I'm bloody low. 명예는 first. Of course. It's done, 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 done.
Okay. Okay. Wow. So before we go in, I'm gonna go back. There's so many things that like I took mental notes of. I want to go back. I want to just talk about the music style that we're seeing from this. And at this point in time, I haven't listened to any of the rest of the album either. That's also going to be this Saturday. So if you guys want to hear about the trip, and also we're going to do a listening party, and I'm going to react to all of the remaining songs on the album, join us on Saturday. But what's really, really interesting is we get to hear this very, very different side, right, of J-Hope. And it's kind of interesting because both More and this song were very, very kind of reminiscent of very, very early rap, like 80s and 90s rap, but specifically kind of like the rap rock mix of like even like the Beastie Boys. Like if you hear a lot of it, like just like the drum beats, kind of the rawness in their voice, like it reminds me a lot of that. I'm not saying he sounds like the Beastie Boys. I'm just saying like that genre of music is really where we're kind of feeling this. And in that genre of music, a lot of what was being talked about was kind of like a fight against the system, was a lot of what people were singing about in that in kind of that genre. And we get that feeling here too. I don't want to go too much into that because I want to talk about that as we go back through and the video, and we're going to pause, we're going to look at things. But I think it's just such a cool choice to break away, and a bold choice, right? When people were very, very used to a specific sound out of BTS, and it's not that BTS hasn't really made a lot of different types of genres over the years and covered it, but this is definitely not one of them. And so to say, hey, with my solo stuff, I'm going to break away from things that even our fan base might be used to and do something like this has just been, it's such a bold move. And it's not one of those things where it's like, it feels like a lot of other artists in Western society, they make it to the top and then like they can just put out whatever they want because they know people are going to listen to it, but then they really don't put the effort into it. Like it feels like there was just as much, if not more effort put into the lyrics and the feeling and the meaning behind his solo stuff than maybe even the stuff that he contributed to BTS. And so it's like, it didn't matter that he's at the top. Like he's still pouring his heart and soul into this to tell his story. And I find that absolutely fascinating. But let's go back because on a surface level of kind of what's happening here, in a lot of the lyrics that we've heard, he's kind of talking about like them burning bright, like them making it to the top and them burning really, really bright as it got there. There's a shout out in there, and I don't remember exactly what the lyrics are. We'll find it when we go back. But there's a shout out in there to like me and my boys, essentially burning bright and kind of talking about that. So at surface level, it almost seems like it could be like a clap back, and like the arson is essentially being doused on the haters, and because they burn so bright that they're basically dumping gasoline, petrol, because he called it like petrol and oil. They're dumping it on all the haters and they're lighting everything up, and they burn so bright that like they can just push that all away and push that behind them. And so it almost seems like it could be a theme of like a hate, you know, like this is to all my haters out there, look at how hot I burn. But I see so much more than that. And there's a lot here that I think we need to take the context, because even like this was the title song and they chose to release the More MV first. And I think it's because the More MV sets up the storyline and Arson probably is the ending of the story, and now we're going to be able to piece all the pieces in the middle. But let's just talk about it for a sec. So the first thing that stood out to me right away. So because you have this kind of bit, I love the sign like done and only here, but everything's tore down. So this is like, if I'm really done, like that was the exit, but you can't be done then if everything's burned down. But this whole thing is very reminiscent. If you're interested, or if you haven't watched the more video yet, you probably have. But if you haven't or haven't watched my reaction to it, I really go in to talk about, there's a huge Fight Club element in there. And part of in Fight Club was they basically are trying to burn down the establishment. They literally want to blow up the establishment to kind of create a new system that's free and void of the cultural norms of the IKEA book life, as they kind of call it, where it's like your life is supposed to be a certain way. And we see that a lot. We see that a lot with him breaking outside of the box and opening the box at the end. There's all kinds of things. Go watch my more reaction video if you want to hear more to that. But this kind of seems like if at the end, when they're able to go through with it and everything blows up, that if that were to happen, that this is kind of the world that is left, right? Once everything is over, once you finally kind of got what you wanted, that this is the actual world would be left, that now you have to make a choice in this world. Now that you've finally gotten what you've wanted, what's your next move? And he talks about that in here. He was talking about like, now that I'm here, like, what are my choices? Like, what am I going to do? So, and the reason that it sticks out to me is it starts out with this picture perfect house, right? Like this picture, like this is the American dream, right? And then I understand it's a Korean artist, but we're looking at it from Fight Club standpoint. It was like the American dream of like the nice house with the shutters and the freshly trimmed front yard. And like, this is it. And I think this represents normal expectations, whether it's a cultural expectation, whether it's a personal expectation, whatever it was. I think this is the last thing standing, right? And it's not even real. It's just on this, it literally is on a pedestal. It's literally on a platform. And it's the last like beacon while everything else is already on fire and burned. And as he's walking essentially away from this perfect life, and he's in this perfect uniform, right? He's dressed in white, perfect put, white pearls on, this whole symbolism. This is burning up in the background, right? So like, to me, I more take this part as it's not necessarily like just a clap back to the haters. I think that there is a surface level, and I think there's a multitude, and BTS and their members are just the gods of this. They are so good at layering and putting different layers of what you can find in there. So I think that on the surface, that is essentially kind of what this is representing, is like they have made it, and this was kind of like the expectations for them the entire time. But now it's time to kind of break out of that box and just kind of put that all behind, put the expectations behind, and find out what is truly in here. And he's leaving that behind by burning this perfect symbol up, right? Okay. So this is kind of goes into the Icarus thing. So we see this in some of the BTS previous videos, but obviously the story with Icarus, he's too cocky. He's got too much ego, and he thinks he can fly higher. He flies too close to the sun. His wings burn. He falls down to his demise. And I feel like this is kind of it. Like he talked about, it wasn't that he was just burning bright and they were killing it and crushing it. He talks about his thoughtless motivation, because really when you're that motivated, you can almost be blinded by it. And as you start getting success, like you just want to keep going, and you want to keep going, and you want to keep going. And with these guys, with how young they were, all of them, when they joined this and kind of were just thrusted into this, I don't know that any of them really had the opportunity to kind of sit back and think about, well, what would I do, right? Like if I was given the opportunity, what would I do? What do I want to say? What's my, like how much do I want to say to the world? And we heard a lot of that at the Festa dinner. I think that that's really what this representation of. It's kind of like an Icarus flying too close to the sun. And we're going to see like everything's now burning up because he got so involved, and it was that thoughtless motivation, and he thought he could just keep going. But when you get too close to the sun, things start burning up. Like this is kind of what I'm taking more out of this, because we see this petrol to set the fire on my own feet, on my own legs. So he's like setting himself afire. And again, he's talking about his haters, right? We've covered that. My fella's burning bright. That's the BTS shout out. Okay, so basically he says like, got nothing to fear, but then 1 second ahead. So it's basically like, in his own head, he's like, oh, we're burning all this up. We're burning all these haters. It doesn't matter. And being the arsonist was like amazing. Like being able to do that was amazing. But then on second thought, like 1 second later, he can feel a completely different way about that. And I think that that's where we see kind of this evolution happening from this part. Okay. So he's accomplished all of this. And we knew that like when BTS announced their supposed hiatus, right? We've seen clearly more content since they've gone on hiatus. But when they announced it, they said that was going to kind of be the end of a chapter and we're going to see a new chapter. And this almost feels like a phoenix that was so hot, that burns so hot, but then the flames flicker out, and then from the ashes, from the soot, you're reborn. There is like a rebirth. And that's kind of the point in Fight Club too, is like, if we burn everything down, if we take all these corporations out, if we burn away the thought and the stigma and the pressure of society and all of these things that people have on us, then the world can basically grow anew from the ashes. And now we're seeing like all the flames are done, right? All we're left with is soot here, and his coat's all like aflame and everything, but he survives, right? It's almost like this is a rebirth for him. My part of the job, what else? More, less is more, right? So who knew the world would go up in flames? Fire too big to put out. It was serious arson. So like basically it was like a runaway train. And again, I think that they also talked about this in their Festa dinner, where they kind of like went into a little bit of the kind of like their worldwide fame. Like they were growing and growing, and then all of a sudden with COVID, they had those couple songs, and it just like it just exploded, right? It exploded. And that's a lot to handle all at once, right? Like it doesn't matter how big of a star you are. When you get to that level, all of a sudden things change a little bit. And they really started thinking about, you heard RM talk about a little bit, like thinking about their songs and really saying what they wanted to say. And they weren't really able to do that, even though they still loved Butter and they loved Dynamite. They weren't really able to get out what they wanted to say. And so like that kind of gained a life of its own. And this is, I think, them like kind of like pulling that and taking their life back from that. And like even with that, maybe some of the expectations and some of the things that were set during that era, again, kind of was like where it got too big and started blowing up, and they had to crawl their way back out to kind of figure out who they were and their own rebirth and who each individual member is going to be. So then when they come back together as a group, they're going to be that much stronger. That's a lot what I take out of this. Wake up from pain, contemplate herself. Okay, so only I can put out that fire myself. Like, only I can do that, a fireman of chaos. So it's like, yeah, like this was like self-induced, but not realizing it. And that's exactly what happens. Like, if you start feeling that, like all of that fame, all of that popularity, all those things he's talking about burning down in the beginning, that all feels so good. It all happened. Of course it happened. But now that you're there, now that you've made it there, what do you do with it now? What do you still have to say? Have you gotten out what you wanted to say? And this is what I think more, and this is about. It's finally getting that out from inside. Well, this is the target. What's my move? Okay, this is also really cool. I love this because it's like even his insides at this point look charred, right? It's like if you've ever seen those pictures of like a smoker's lung, when you've seen someone smoke for a long time and then like show you like what the lungs look like, and it's got like all this like just tar and everything in it, like everything from his outside. And we kind of saw at the beginning, right? They were taking x-rays of him. It's really, really showing not just how the burning was on like the outside, but how he was feeling, how they may have been feeling, or he was feeling on the inside, some of that pressure, and how it literally kind of burned them down to the core, which is why he's the person that has to put that fire out. Brilliant. Do I put the fire out or burn even brighter? And it's literally like from inside out, he's burning. And I think that really goes, because again, it's not, I don't think at this point in time, any of them are worried about them like being famous. They're already completely famous. Like nobody's guessing that. Nobody's like, hey, like, is that going to happen? And I don't think that's what he's meaning. Like, do I put the fire out or do I keep burning brighter? I think it's more like, do I blindly follow into the path or do I choose my own path? Do I finally say what I want to say? And then therefore from that, ignite a different type of flame, ignite a new flame. You know what I'm like? That's more what I'm getting out of this. And like literally, this just like being in the middle of the fire, like because the fire started from him and worked its way out, and it's such a good visual representation of, I feel, the way that he may be feeling or has been feeling on the inside. Very, very cool. There's a couple of other things that I want to, I'm just going to leave it on this screen because it's so gorgeous. There's a couple of other things, though, that I want to talk about there that I think were really, really special. So one, we've covered kind of the surface level of like burning up the haters, of course, and obviously they've had a lot of songs about fire in their past, right? Like literally the song Fire. They've had a lot of things that have talked about that or burning up in the past. They had like the whole series of Burn the Stage, right? Like there are a lot of things that have been tied to fire with BTS throughout their time. So this makes a lot of sense. But again, to me, it's more about that's like the surface level. It's more, I think, about like the FINIX, the rebirth aspect of it, the next chapter, and kind of the flying so close to the sun, and then kind of reevaluating that afterwards for each member. And again, to really, really get their feelings on that, man, so many of those emotions were let loose at the fest center. So we have that aspect. But let's just talk about the music video for a second, because the music video itself took so much work. The pyrotechnics that were in here were incredible. It's actually a very it's actually a very simple video on like at its core. Not that it was simple to make, because that stuff was probably so much harder, but it's not like there's huge dance numbers. It's literally just him walking through this field. And it was probably, I couldn't imagine how much this cost to make and produce with all of that. But the even cooler part was there's a lot of these big long, like when he's walking at the beginning here, this whole thing up until, okay, we're at like 15 seconds where he comes in, up until when this burns and fades out, which is way here at like 120, this is like one take. All these pyrotechnics, everything like that, the people running through, this is all one take. And then it looks like even this, then when he comes back in, 124, I guess he could, because there's a couple places where it doesn't show him here. This might not be, but there's some stuff in here where it definitely was one take driven, and then this. But like that whole first part being just like one take and having to get those pyrotechnics right, like kudos to them. We had like the helicopter going on back here, like, and at first I thought that maybe, and I was probably just reading too much into this, but we see like the scaffolding here, like this, I don't know if it was, but like it reminded me of which video is it now? It's not Butterfly. Which one? I can't remember if it's I Need You or Run, where they're jumping off the scaffolding into the water, where it's V that jumps off the scaffolding into the water. Like this almost reminds me of that scaffolding. And when they pulled out, I almost thought that this was the truck, but then as it got farther, it's an SUV, and it wasn't. But I don't know, like I just like it, again, the whole new chapter feeling like really, really stuck out to me there. And it would make sense of it, like, because like that would be to cool off, right, essentially. But like, I don't know, man. Like this whole thing had to have been so difficult to do, and we're gonna see more about it. We still have to watch the making of film, so we'll end up seeing more of it. But man, like, wow, they came with a thunder for their solo stuff, and it's like, again, this is just one of them. Like there's gonna be 6 more of these, likely. Like BTS and hiatus in the same sentence. Like everybody that was worried, I think that we can safely say throw that out the window, because there is going to be more content coming out now than when they were together. I mean, we have this, we have all their solo stuff, we have their Run BTS stuff that they said that they were still doing, all the Disney Plus stuff that's got announced now, V's offshoot in the soup. Like, there's so much that they're going to be doing, and I think it's a really, really incredible journey. I'm really, really excited. I'm really, really excited to listen to the rest of the songs now and kind of see how well they fill in the context. Because again, I do believe from this point, my guess is that more is the opening of the box, is kind of like breaking outside of the mold and breaking outside of the box. However you want to say that, right? Whether that's the cultural norms and societies with, like, you know, kind of the whole Fight Club thing that we talked about, or like you're opening Pandora's box, whatever it might be, that like that was kind of the beginning. And I think Arson is where it's left basically at the end. And I think maybe the other ones fill it, but we're going to find out this Saturday. If you guys want to check that stuff out live, I will cut them up all into pieces as well. But if you guys want to come in and chat about it and talk about it live with me, please join us on Twitch. Make sure you follow there. That's in the description below. So you can check out our Saturday live streams. Those are every Saturday noon Central Time. We're going to be getting back to regular schedule on those now that I'm back from LA. So check us out there. You can also make sure that if you're looking for more music to listen to, I know you guys tons of BTS stuff, but our music is now out on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and all the other music places. And we do have a bunch of BTS exclusive content that we're going to be starting to record again this week on Patreon and YouTube membership. So you can check it all out there. If nobody told you that they love you today, don't forget that I love you. You're appreciated, always welcome here in this channel, and you are enough. And last, but certainly not least, it was a great day to play. Thank you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.